In 2026, the vegan label has become the ultimate health halo in grocery stores. However, the rise of junk food veganism has flooded shelves with ultra-processed products, UPFs, that are often more chemically complex than their animal-based counterparts. A vegan cookie is still a cookie, and a plant-based burger can be a sodium bomb held together by industrial glues. To navigate the aisles safely, you need to look past the green leaves and natural buzzwords. Here is the 8-point label trick to identify whether your vegan purchase is actually a health food or just a highly engineered industrial formulation. 1. The isolated protein trap. The trick: many vegan meats and snacks boast high protein counts using soy protein isolate or pea protein isolate. The reality: unlike whole beans or lentils, isolates are proteins stripped of their natural fiber, fats, and micronutrients through chemical processing. In 2026, these are recognized as ultra-processed ingredients that the body absorbs differently than whole food protein. Because they lack the original food matrix, they are digested rapidly, which can lead to different insulin responses compared to eating the whole plant. If an isolate is in the top 3 ingredients, you are eating a reconstructed lab product rather than a nourishing plant. These formulations often require additional masking agents to cover the chalky taste of the processed powder, further increasing the chemical load of your meal. 2. The saturated fat swap, coconut and palm. The trick: dairy-free cheeses and butters use coconut oil or palm oil to achieve a solid, melty texture. The reality: these are some of the most saturated fats in the plant kingdom. In 2026, many vegan cheeses contain zero protein and more saturated fat than the dairy cheese they replace. They are essentially flavored, solidified oils. Frequent consumption of these fat blocks can drive up LDL cholesterol levels, negating the heart health benefits typically associated with a plant-based diet. While marketers highlight the cholesterol-free nature of plants, they often ignore that high saturated fat intake triggers your liver to produce more of its own cholesterol. If coconut oil or palm kernel oil is the primary base, it's an occasional treat, not a health staple. 3. The secrecy of natural flavors. The trick: labels list natural flavors to make a long ingredient list seem more wholesome. Reality: in 2026, natural flavor remains a catch-all term for dozens of chemical additives used to make plant-based meat taste like blood or fat. These are often highly processed extracts that can trigger sensitivities in some individuals. Furthermore, unless the label explicitly states vegan natural flavor, these can occasionally be derived from hidden animal sources, such as castoreum or isinglass, under certain regulatory loopholes. Authentic health foods rarely need flavoring because the ingredients themselves, herbs, spices, and whole vegetables, provide the taste. If a product relies on flavors to be palatable, it is likely masking a bland, over-processed base that has lost its natural zest during manufacturing. 4. The methyl cellulose glue. The trick: check the back of your vegan burger or nuggets for methyl cellulose or carrageenan. The reality: these are chemical thickeners and emulsifiers used to give fake meat its structure and bite. Methyl cellulose is a synthetic fiber derived from wood pulp often used in industrial products like wallpaper paste. In 2026, nutritionists point to these additives as markers of ultra-processing. While generally recognized as safe, they provide zero nutritional value and can disrupt the delicate mucus layer of the gut lining in sensitive individuals. If your food requires a chemical adhesive to stay together, it lacks the natural fiber and structural integrity of whole plant foods like mushrooms, beans, or grains. Real plant-based patties should be held together by the starches in the vegetables, not industrial binders. 5. Astronomical sodium levels. The trick: processed vegan meals use high salt levels to compensate for the lack of umami naturally found in meat. The reality: some plant-based mince or frozen dinners contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving, nearly half the daily recommended limit. In 2026, this salt trap is a primary reason why some people see their blood pressure rise after switching to a vegan diet. Manufacturers rely on sodium to preserve the food and make up for flavor loss during high heat extrusion. Always check the sodium percent daily value. If a single item exceeds 20%, it's a red flag. High sodium intake can lead to water retention and kidney strain, which completely undermines the clean eating philosophy most vegans are trying to follow. 6. The non-dairy casein loophole. The trick: a product is labeled non-dairy or lactose-free, leading you to believe it is automatically vegan. The reality: in the US, non-dairy is a technical term that can still include casein or whey milk proteins. This is a common trick in coffee creamers and alternative cheeses. For someone avoiding animal products for health or ethical reasons, this is a major deception. Always look for the specific certified vegan seal or scan for sodium caseinate in the fine print. If a label uses non-dairy instead of vegan, it is often hiding a milk derivative for better texture. In 2026, as regulations tighten, some brands still exploit these legacy terms to capture the plant-based market while utilizing cheap animal-derived proteins. 7. Added liquid sugars, agave and date syrup. The trick: healthy vegan snacks use agave, date syrup, or brown rice syrup to avoid using the word sugar. The reality: in 2026, these are recognized as free sugars that behave exactly like high-fructose corn syrup in the body. Agave, in particular, is extremely high in fructose, which can put a strain on the liver and lead to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NEFLD, if overconsumed. Because these sound natural, consumers often eat larger portions than they would of white sugar. A plant-based energy bar with 20 g of agave is still a high glycemic food that will cause an insulin spike and subsequent energy crash. If a syrup is listed as one of the first 3 ingredients, the product is essentially a candy bar in a green disguise. 8. The fortification patch. The trick: the front of the box shouts about added vitamin B12, iron, and vitamin D. The reality: this is often used to mask a lack of natural nutrition. If a product is highly refined, like white rice-based milk, it is nutritionally empty, so companies patch it with synthetic vitamins to make it marketable. In 2026, the best vegan foods are those that are naturally nutrient-dense, like fortified nutritional yeast, kale, or walnuts, rather than those that use fortification as a distraction from a long list of fillers and preservatives. While fortification is necessary for certain nutrients like B12 on a vegan diet, it shouldn't be used to justify a base of refined flour and sugar. Real health doesn't come from a lab-made vitamin spray on top of a processed cracker. The whole truth: the vegan movement of 2026 has been co-opted by industrial food giants who see plant-based as a way to sell low-cost, high-margin chemicals. The 8-label trick isn't about avoiding all processed food, but about realizing that a vegan sticker is not a substitute for an ingredient list. The healthiest vegan diet is one centered on unprocessed plants, beans that look like beans, grains that look like grains, and vegetables that don't require an emulsifier to stay together. By learning to spot the isolated proteins and wood pulp glues, you protect yourself from the metabolic inflammation caused by ultra-processed foods. True wellness isn't found in a meat-mimicking lab creation. It's found in the simplicity of whole foods. Next time you see a healthy vegan label, flip it over. The back of the pack is where the marketing ends and your health begins.